Now, when I say that in my company there were 3 different activist paradigms, what I mean is that there were literally 3 different named employee-led sustainability groups inside the company, each of which focused on a specific set of tactics. If you've never worked at a big company, a lot of them have affinity groups. Employees who read books, employees who ride bikes, employees who watch Severance. These were those. That's what started me thinking about all of this. Observing the inner politics and the interplay between 3 distinct mailing lists, 3 distinct sets of meetings, 3 distinct group chats, each of which had the same goal, make the company more sustainable, but who went about it in completely different ways. These groups were the concerned individuals, who were calling Jen, the reformers, Diana, and the radicals, Ivy. The Jen chat room had the most members by far. They were promoted in official company emails as the corporate-sanctioned place to discuss sustainability. They posted petitions they'd found online, orchestrated zero-waste challenges, and discussed favorite green products. They celebrated Earth Day and coordinated an office bike day and nominated other employees for green awards. It was a great resource for learning more about personal sustainability, but it did not produce a lot of tangible change at the company. Nor did that seem to be a core goal. The Diana chat room reviewed literature and industry news and asked people to PTAL our proposals to power our office with 50% rooftop solar by the year 2045. Okay, jokes, but they were very aware of the difficulty of moving a large institution. They got told no a lot. But they stayed motivated with stories where business interests and individual passions overlapped just right to produce tangible positive change. Like, one famous one was that a guy who worked at a data center came up with a piece of software that refined when the heating and cooling systems would kick in, which ended up reducing the energy consumption of the data center astronomically. The company liked it, of course. It saved them money, and it just used less energy for a building whose function did not change. Win, win, win. Sometimes I wonder if he asked permission to create that piece of software or if he just did it. Because the Dianas get told no a lot. The Ivy chat room coordinated protests, plugged into labor rights campaigns throughout the company, even ones that didn't on face involve climate justice, because they were devoted to building worker power broadly. We also spent 20% of our time endlessly debating the one loud tanky. I'm literally not joking. We did that. Some of you are probably thinking, wait, using company channels to coordinate protests of that company? We organized off of company channels. We'll talk more about OPSEC in another video. Yes, talking Ivy tactics is inherently different than talking Diana tactics or Jen tactics inside of your company. There is a difference between talking about working with the blessing of the system, or changing the existing system, versus building new systems that circumvent existing power structures. Existing power structures do not want that. Anyway, I was in all of these groups, as were a lot of other employees. My defunct employee email is actually still registered as an owner of the Ivy employee chat group. Whoops. Do not work there anymore. The groups would cross-post a lot. If the Dianas brought in an interesting external speaker, it would get cross-posted for the Ivies and the Jens. If the Ivies wrote a compelling open letter, it would get posted in the Diana and Jen chat rooms to get signatures. And by and large, most of them would sign it. Sure, a lot of people preferred one set of tactics, and sometimes the groups would rib on each other. But as people try on different sets of tactics, it's common for them to move through the groups and eventually settle into coexisting in all of them. I started out in the concerned individuals group. It was unintimidating, it was large, and it had corporate backing and funding and even a full-time employee or two. It was exciting to be part of something that you could see the company was investing in. A lot of people start out as a Gen. It's the least intimidating way to get started, as it involves literally only you doing whatever you personally feel you can. No permissions necessary, and it makes sense in a country like America where individualism is hard-coded. When I was a kid, I got really concerned about waste and sustainability, and so I spent my lunch break picking aluminum cans out of the trash. Well, originally I engaged my inner Diana and went to the janitor's office to ask him, "Can we get recycling bins?" And he said, "No, because they attract rats." And I was like 10, so I said, "Okay, cool, makes sense." If I had been a little more of a Diana, I could have gone to more people in power, maybe the principal, maybe go in front of the PTA to try to get an official recycling program instated. If I had been more of an Ivy, I could have rallied the other kids. Or I could have just put out bins without permission. I was already personally collecting the recycling. It would have made my job a lot easier. But the point is, that was where my journey started, with personal actions based on issues that I cared about. And from there, I became more systemically minded over time. How can I instate systems and policies and incentive structures that make changes that are larger than just me, larger than what I could accomplish alone? How can I grease the wheels of progress for all of us? I even had an adult version of how the recycling action could have gone. I worked with a local shelter to install clothing and supply donation bins in my office lobby. I talked to the office facilities manager, set up a meeting between him and a representative for the shelter, and we coordinated a weekly pickup schedule. That way, my coworkers had a super easy daily reminder to make donations in a place where they would already be going regularly. And this was something that was easy for my office to support. It's free, takes up very little space, it makes them look good, they literally have to change nothing. Creating sanctioned systems that streamline good behaviors. Dianas love win-win-wins. And since I was working in #$big tech, I knew we had an absurd amount of money with which to create beneficial change. And this was pre the Cambridge Analytica scandal, before Google removed "Don't be evil" from its code of conduct, before Amazon delivery drivers revealed that they were resorting to peeing in water bottles to stay on schedule. Basically, before many people realized that the tech industry is not unique, it's not special, it's not different, it's an overfed, anti-competitive field of monoliths sucking money upward and pretending to be smarter than everyone. Insider secret? They are not. I worked with the people drafting proposals, applying for climate-centric positions within the company, which are extremely competitive, asking for climate goals to be implemented, and I got deferred, and my meetings got delayed months, and I waited, and I bumped threads, and where a Diana approach sometimes ends, and where an Ivy approach sometimes begins, is when the institution, the system, is not amenable to being changed through existing protocols. Basically, a lot of Ivies are born when a Diana hears no one too many times and is forced to realize, oh, my values exceed the system's willingness to act morally.